And what's up, guys? Some people got disappointed today about the winter weather. Some people didn't see anything. Some people saw some stuff. So I'm here to break down the details of that. The reason being is because when the system moved in, we had some dry air shoot up straight out of Missouri. And kind of limited a lot of that snow across portions of central and northeast Illinois. But for the people that were in Iowa, though, like further north, like this, people got to see some snow, especially Iowa, the northern tier states, Wisconsin, central, northern, northeast Iowa, into central and northern Michigan. All those people got to see some snow. So that's the reason why we had more saturated air mass starting since last night. Everything was more saturated way to the north. I mean, Iowa already had snow falling on the ground across much of the widespread state as early as like 10-11 p.m. last night. Illinois was still struggling in northeast Illinois to get snow on the ground. Very light flurries of snow, but I had snow coming down like near Rockford to Mendota. But you had dry air punching in from Missouri going all the way up into Bloomington, into portions of northeast Illinois. And then that also enhanced a little bit more of that freezing rain going into portions of central Indiana, into northern northwest Ohio. And they got some ice storm warnings for that across portions of northern northwest Ohio as well. A little bit of a warm nose out there. But then even so, as of right now, we still have some lake enhancement here still feeding as the system's exiting. There's still some lake enhancement feeding in from the back side that's going to target some of this lakeshore counties here overnight into tomorrow morning. So some of these areas right here near the lakeshore, Cook County, northern Cook County especially, parts of Lake County into Kenosha, Milwaukee areas, those areas could pick up another additional 1-3 inches, localized higher amounts based on where banding does set up at for lake enhancement. No promises. With the combination of much more cold air coming in from the backside again. But that's the current overview and what we're looking at currently. And these are the current advisories and warnings still posted. We don't need those up right now, so we'll go ahead and turn those off. And here's southeast Wisconsin with that lake enhancement still feeding in. You can see it's being pulled in off the lake, still building up there. It's been snowing in the same area here for a little bit across much of the day with that onshore flow from the lake, northeast wind, lake enhancement still. But eventually it'll turn into a skinny lake effect snow band over late tonight into tomorrow morning, it'll just kind of skid its way all the way across all the lakeshore counties until the winds shift out in the northwest and then west, and it's gone when it exits Michigan. So, but other than that, I mean, I think the most places are going to see the snow out of this system are going to be Iowa and southeast Wisconsin, and probably portions of northeast Illinois with that lake enhancement there across those areas. Some of these areas right here could see totals topping over 9 inches by tomorrow morning in some of these locations here closer to the lake shore because of the lake enhancement snow. So that's what we're looking at there. And then you got Michigan right now. You got some snow there still moving in to the north, some spotty areas. But this is kind of mixing with some freezing rain right there. Most of this is more fluffier snow up here. This could be a little bit of mixing a little bit at times too. But spotty, moderate locations as it's all that's being pushed up to now the northeast across portions of central eastern Michigan. And then we check in on and then there's your freezing rain. Freezing rain's moving about just that way. And then you got some heavy banding of snow that could develop right there across portions of southern Michigan into southeast Michigan overnight. There could be some heavy wet accumulations with that. And you go like 20 miles away from that transition line and you get into more of a fluffier snow. And the freezing rain going into Toledo where the ice storm warnings are. It's going to be cold out there still. Temperatures are probably below 28 degrees. They've been in the mid-20s throughout much of the day today, so be careful traveling across portions of northern and northwest Ohio due to the freezing rain and maybe some spotty ice accumulations up to 0.2 of an inch of ice accumulation with those. For the radar across much of central Illinois currently, there isn't much showing up at all. So everything is either gone. Now there's some dry air coming in still behind the system. You got the lake enhancement here across this area, and the only other remaining portion of precipitation is kind of going this way. So that's it with the system basically. Let's kind of talk about our weekend storm. And I wasn't really looking much into it anyway till after this system exited. Kind of just go over here to the regions. Just check out all the forecast models here. Oh, it's going to be more north, isn't it? I like the view better on Pivotal. So starting, based on the European model being consistent showing this, I guess there's like a precip shield way out ahead of the system, or some spotty, moderate to briefly heavy snow coming in Friday evening, Friday late night, overspreading across northern Illinois into much of Wisconsin, going into Michigan, that's not part of the system, I would say. Friday evening into Friday night into overnight, that could be maybe a few inches with that. But the actual system itself is coming in Saturday. And it looks to be a little disorganized on the European model, and then it gets organized. The precip shield does fill in and it does get organized. It looks like the system does start to come in mostly on Saturday evening, Saturday overnight. And you do get some lake enhancement there, lake effect snow band. You see that band is streaming right into portions of northern Indiana, northwest and northern Indiana. You can see that banding right there. Nice precip shield. No promises that there will be dry air with this system. But it's showing that someone could pick up over 6 inches of snow again. And it does show that Michigan could get possibly 4 foot of snow again. But we'll probably have to re-go over all of this again here by probably Thursday to kind of pick up more specific details on the system, because I want to wait till it still shows like 3-4 inches still falling with the current system that's still exiting, because it hasn't updated on the 00Z update, which isn't until 10 or 11 p.m. But it still shows our current system still exiting, so I'm going to wait till updates tomorrow and Thursday to kind of go over all the details for our weakened system. But it is showing some decent snow for our weakened system. But I want to be more sure and certain and kind of scrub out all the areas and possibilities of dry air infiltrating this system too, to get the better accumulation. And here's our GFS. 00Z GFS is coming in right now. Okay. So it does do the same thing with that mass precipitation way out ahead of the system for snow coming in Friday evening, Friday night. So do expect some widespread light, maybe burst of moderate snow across portions of northern Illinois into Wisconsin, maybe into Michigan, Friday evening, Friday night. But the system itself doesn't really start to come in till Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon, and then finally it leaves probably Sunday night. But the GFS has it so disorganized right now, it doesn't even look real. Yeah, this looks so disorganized. Probably the high resolution models are probably the way to go in the European. GFS has been doing a really poor job on these last few systems. This is the NAM 3KM. So it does the same thing with that precip coming in. A burst to moderate to briefly heavy snow, or some light in some area coming across portions of northern Illinois and Wisconsin Friday evening, Friday overnight. And that overspreads the area. Looks like it's starting to pick up some freezing rain down there as well. But it doesn't go too far out for me to see the actual system coming in. But what is it trying to spit out? It's trying to spit out some 6+ inch snowfall totals across portions of Wisconsin and Michigan for that Friday night starting precipitation. So we'll see how that does go. It's probably going to be that very fluffier snow, so it could probably accumulate a lot quicker. So there is the possibility that someone could get 6+ inches out of that burst of heavy snow, because there is some heavy stuff on all the forecast models. But what is the regular NAM showing here? Yeah, the regular NAN model is it's not really telling me much. All I do know, based on all the forecast model, there's an average mean of someone seeing a possibility of between 5 and maybe 8 inches of snow with this next system coming up this weekend. I don't think central Illinois or central Indiana is going to see much out of this besides some rain or freezing rain again. You would have to be like really far northern Illinois and far northern Indiana to even get some snow out of this next system, I believe. And this will be mostly a Wisconsin and Michigan and maybe Minnesota system this weekend because the system looks to be trending a little bit more further north. And then you got this major rain threat here across portions of Kentucky into Tennessee. I was thinking about going down to do coverage on. Going to be a lot of widespread rainfall totals across the area, 4 inches plus, overflowing creeks and riverbeds and there'll be a lot of dangerous flooding, especially across portions of Kentucky. I wanted to check out. Let's go over to radar again. Where is it? Oh, well. Nope. There's Saturday. They're talking about the moderate risk for flooding. It can even go even higher. For Saturday across portions of Kentucky, so that they're already way out in advance for moderate risk of flooding on Saturday across much of Kentucky. So I was thinking about heading out there to cover the flooding for the riverbeds and creeks and overflowing and flooding in some other locations elsewhere. I'm still thinking about it though, but that's going to be a large area of water. I mean, just rain alone from, combination of systems back to back. So starting now all the way till Sunday, but Saturday's system is punching a big impact across portions of the central and southern states for how much precipitation and rain is actually happening down there. They already have a ton of flood watches and warnings across portions of northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and portions into Tennessee, but the rainfall totals here on just adding fuel to fire here, another 4 to something inches between tonight and to Saturday. It's definitely going to cause some issues because all the water flows into certain areas downstream, and then it all builds up. The ponds and lakes can only handle so much, and then you get those rock slides, you get mudslides, you get corruption and buckling in the pavement as roads, and the creeks can overturn some of those small roads due to the flooding. That's something else just to watch out for how much precipitation is to be falling across those areas. And that's why they do have the moderate risk for flooding. But talking about our system going into this weekend, though, it's the Saturday system. The same system's going to be causing the flooding down there. It all just depends on how much cold air and how organized the system is as it comes in. It can still play a jump, flip-flop over the next 24 to 36 hours before the system even comes in. But I'll tell you guys this, it doesn't look fully as organized as it did just 12 hours ago. So it could just be another crappy show that we just saw last night, or it could finally get its act together in the next 12 hours on the models, and we'll see what happens. But it does seem like the rain show down south is going to be the show that does take off for news headlines based on being consistent. So other than that, that's all I got with this update. Stay tuned.